You won't believe the story's start. A motorcyclist passed. Renjing stopped him, learned he was going to the bus station, and he agreed. He asked to deliver something first. Renjing, thrilled like a child, didn't notice. The man rode toward bumpy terrain, accelerating. Renjing jolted, then the motorcycle slowed. But when he looked up, he was shocked. Feng Yan was already at the riverbank, and those two thugs were his lackeys. But seeing the professor's pitiful expression, Renjing's fear reduced significantly. "I'm Cyril, will you dare to take out a gun? Won't your dad come after me? Today's a real swine slaughter day." Speaking of Feng Yan, he walked over to the professor as if performing magic. But after Huma explained the situation, he didn't react too much. The long-haired man immediately pulled Renjing over, but just as everyone was getting ready to grill, Feng Yan walked over to the professor again. "This car is like a secret weapon. No one can just drive it, otherwise it won't be just a simple death." But Feng Yan didn't care at all. He just dove into the car, but when he saw buttons everywhere, Feng Yan immediately lost interest and called a few people to help push the car. The professor thought had met a good man, but Feng Yan suddenly bared his scars. The professor's feelings were a roller coaster, while the clueless Renjing was still looking for the panties left in the car. At this point, Feng Yan was directing from the side of the car, and the crew complained that the car was too heavy, while the lackeys refused to look back. Feng Yan pulled out his phone to call a tow truck and invited the professor and Renjing for barbecue, but those two couldn't even think about eating, fearing their relationship would be. Seeing the long-haired man's primitive eating, the professor felt sick. Before recovering, Feng Yan offered him 2 meats. Feng Yan's face froze as he recounted the meat's origin. The long-haired man's head was injured in a fight with an instructor in Seoul. Later, he returned home to sell meat with his dad. Whenever he entered the pig bin, he felt pigs mocked him, so they never worried about pig weight. But Feng Yan kept insisting he didn't want to eat. His expression was like, "I'm so dumb, just give me the meat already." Feng Yan's silly expression made one want to laugh. He didn't want to eat, then went back to his hometown to sell meat. Every time he entered the pig bin, he felt pigs mocking him, so they never picked pigs by weight. Though Feng laughed, how could the professor miss the meaning? He hurriedly stuffed the meat into his mouth, but before he could swallow, 2 more pieces were thrust in front of him. Suddenly, Feng Yan's phone rang. Learning it was the tow truck driver, the professor's nose vanished instantly. Then, the buzzcut and red-haired men approached. They quietly discussed the glory of joining the group, so the professor couldn't sit still anymore. He couldn't let the meat slip away right in front of him. Upon hearing Renjing say he'd leave, Feng Yan's face turned icy and cursed the professor furiously. The second the motorcycle suddenly fell, Feng Yan told the buzzcut man to untie it, having a hunch yet surprised to see a high schooler. The professor froze in disbelief. What stunned him more was the boy's docility once freed, acting like a puppy. Even when his head was bleeding from being hit by a rock, he didn't complain, as if it was his destiny. Feng Yan was still unwilling to let him off, observing Renjing attempting to plead on his behalf. The boy hurriedly took off his pants because he knew if Feng Yan got angry, the situation would only get worse. At this point, the long-haired man realized something was wrong and saw 2 straps tied to the boy's legs under his pants. Seeing the boy take off his underwear, the professor rushed to stop him, only to be met with a furious shout. Renjing got scared and quickly left, but he hadn't gone far before he was pulled back by the buzzcut man and the red-haired guy. Renjing was furious and started to shout, and seeing the two no longer hiding their relationship, Feng Yan pulled out the student ID. During his first test drive, he spotted a girl's bag in the back seat, a couple in a luxury car in the wild. What were they up to? To punish them, Feng Yan handed the professor a baseball bat to use as a microphone for a song, and sent his men to the car to unleash their wild side. The professor gripped the bat tightly, but Feng Yan saw he was thinking of resisting and called over the high schooler for a death match. If the professor won before his men had their way, he could safely take Renjing away, but if not, he'll never bully him again. The professor tried to refuse, but Feng Yan pulled him to the river, leaving the long-haired man to watch them. The professor begged for mercy in fear, but the high schooler wouldn't give up. A rare chance. Subtitles: The professor, drained of his energy after each encounter, instantly collapsed to the ground, prompting the long-haired man to rush to the car in a hurry. Compared to the duel, the buzzcut man was instantly down, then kicked unconscious. When the red-haired individual stepped out of the car, the man with the buzzcut had already completely passed out, and he noticed that the high schooler's attention was drawn. The professor abandoned his car and Renjing without hesitation, while the red-haired man was blindfolded, utterly unable to resist. What the high schooler didn't expect was that Feng Yan was not scared at all. He tossed the baseball bat to him and told him to take the first swing. The high school student, already with eyes bloodshot from rage, became even more furious. Yet no matter how much strength he exerted, Feng Yan could still stand up unharmed. Stop swinging. I told you to die already. You jerk, the high schooler yelled. Renjing thought about calling the police, but found there was no signal at all. Talk about bad luck. After the high schooler knocked Feng Yan out, he breathed a sigh of relief, and the professor finally came across a tractor on the main road. He intended to ask the villagers to take him to report, but the tractor was too slow, so he had to keep running.